UFC 305 goes down this weekend, and it should be a really fun one. In the main event, Dricus Du Plessis takes on the former middleweight king in Israel Adesanya in what is sure to be a really, really fun fight. So today, we're going to do the regular Monday thing we do around these parts, and that is look at the key storylines going into the week. So the big one is Israel Adesanya as he tries to get back to the top of the mountain. He is, I think, very easily the second best middleweight in the history of the sport, but he's lost 2 of his last 3. So he has lost the championship, won it back, and then lost it again against Sean Strickland. Can he get back to his original ways to get back to the top of the mountain? We have talked before about how difficult it is sometimes in this sport, for whatever reason, how difficult it is to go from being the guy and then losing and trying to get that back. It is very, very hard to do. And so we will see if Israel Adesanya is able to do that. Now, he's able to do it once in getting the belt back from Alex Pereira, but now a loss to Sean Strickland where he didn't look all that impressive. Now he has to go up against Dricus Du Plessis, but it is a huge opportunity ahead of him. If he can win this, establishing legacy and all of that, he's done that. But in terms of right now, if he loses this fight, it is kind of to the back of the line and we don't know what he is going to do. A win in this fight, you have a rematch potentially set up with Du Plessis. You could get a rematch with Sean Strickland as well, depending on where he is going. But also, and I think for marquee purposes, it could set up a champion versus champion fight with Alex Pereira for the 205-pound championship. Yes, you kind of figured out that trilogy, so to speak, but you have an opportunity to do that at a higher weight class with Pereira, who has been just as hot can be throughout this entire thing. And I think that makes it very intriguing now for Israel Adesanya moving forward to try to get that opportunity. So if he can get this win, he gets back to being one of the faces of the company and gives him an opportunity to really work his way into pound for pound all-time status if he can get a championship win over Alex Pereira. On the other side, Dricus Du Plessis looks to validate all his talking. He has been very confident, we will say, in his time in the Ultimate Fighting Championship, and he's been very boisterous about all of this. And now he is the middleweight champion, so it's weird to say that he has some things to prove, but he has some things to prove. And it will be interesting to see how he is able to do that here, coming up against Israel Adesanya. He has talked a lot, and a lot of it has been targeted at Israel Adesanya. And we have seen, yes, if you want to be the heel and you want to build yourself up, there is absolutely a path to that. But it does wear a little bit thin if you don't back it up immediately. And I would say that Du Plessis has backed things up a little bit, but now that this is the guy that you have been targeting for the most part. So if it doesn't back up here, it does become rather detrimental, I think, to the potential for Dricus Du Plessis. But it's also a chance to move up to another level in regards to Dricus Du Plessis. He has an opportunity here to move into a whole new level of stardom. He has beaten Whitaker. He has beaten Strickland. He beat Darren Till. He has beaten some names. He has a ton of personality. If he can go out and beat the guy who many people still believe is the face of this division at 185 pounds, then all of a sudden you start to look at this guy as someone who is a real face for this company, positively or negatively. You look at him as someone who can really put things together and get to another level in the Ultimate Fighting Championship. In the co-main event, it is Kai Kara-France against Steve Erceg. For Kai Kara-France, it's a fight for relevancy. He has lost back-to-back fights, and it kind of feels like this is his career, which is a bit of an exaggeration. It's not a bit. It's a gross exaggeration. But it is also a fight for him to avoid kind of falling into gatekeeper status. You are already seeing when there is a prospect kind of on the rise, it's all right, well, let's throw him in with Kai Kara-France and see where they are. There is already that buzz. And so if he wants to continue to be able to push for a championship, if he still has title aspirations, then this is a fight he has to have. 3 losses in a row would be really, really tough for him to get around, and I think he then moves into that new category of being a gatekeeper. So he has to avoid that with a win this week against Steve Erceg. And for Erceg, how does he respond to a loss? Coming off of a championship loss at UFC 301 to Alexander Pantoja. I don't know why I went Russian on that, but either way, he loses to Pantoja. It was the first loss since he dropped to 1-1 in his career. So how does he handle high-level adversity? Also, we had talked before about that not really being the resume of a championship fighter. Well, you kind of got to you kind of have another tough fight here. Like, you can make a really, really good case that says this is the second most difficult fight that that Steve Erceg has had in his career. And so it'll be interesting to see how he handles that. A win, though, and he's able to get right back into contention. A loss, and that road becomes a little bit more difficult in a very crowded flyweight division. So a couple of key fights on the docket for UFC 305.